Namaste, it's Sahara Rose, and welcome back to the Highest Self podcast, a place where we discuss what makes you your soul's highest evolvement. This episode is brought to you by Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a modernized Ayurvedic supplement company that takes certain issues that we have, such as mood, joints, immunity, digestion, and creates these custom little packets exactly for us, infusing ancient Ayurvedic herbs with modern vitamins and minerals. I take the mood formula daily. It is great if you work a stressful job, had adrenal fatigue, ever suffer from anxiety or even depression. And it really heals you from a fundamental and holistic level. So if you want to try it out, head over to Youveda, YOUVEDA.com. Use the code Sahara and you'll receive 35% off your first order. And they now ship to almost every country globally. So check it out. If you live internationally, they may be shipping to your country too. And they just added India, guys. Before we hop into this episode with the amazing Danielle Paige, I want to share with you that my new book, Eat, Feel, Fresh, is now available for pre-order wherever books are sold. It is a plant-based contemporary Ayurvedic cookbook, and so much more than a cookbook. It teaches you how to eat according for your dosha constitution, as well as how to prepare foods for your family when you're all of different doshas. So I share how to cook tridoshically, what that means, how to create a 6-taste bowl, how to customize each meal according to your dosha to make Ayurvedic cooking so much more approachable and work for today's world. I am also offering a signed book plate, which I will mail to you, a beautiful little oracle card, which I'll also send in the mail to you, as well as 10 bonus recipes that I will email to you as my gratitude for pre-ordering the book. If you don't know about pre-ordering, it really helps for the author because publishers decide how many books they're going to publish based off of how many pre-orders they are. So if you've ever been to a bookstore and you want to order a book and they're like, oh, it's not going to be available for 4 to 6 weeks, that's because they weren't aware of how many people would have wanted the book, so there weren't enough in print. And I don't want that to happen to anyone. I want the book to be available. So by pre-ordering the book, that's going to allow them to print more copies of the book and have it be available to more people. And I would be so grateful for you. It's the same cost. You can do it on Amazon, wherever you buy your books. And as my gift, I will send you my signed book plate, sign it with my very own hands, my card to you, as well as 10 bonus recipes. So head over to my website, and IamSaharaRose.com, and that's where you will submit your receipt. I am so excited to have Danielle Paige, aka Healing Paige, back on the Highest Self podcast for a much requested part 2. Her episode on intuitive astrology way back in February was one of my most popular interviews to date, and I had to have her back. And this time I had a Q&A open on my Instagram story so I could ask her your most pressing astrological questions. So I got questions like, what do your sun, moon, and rising sign mean? What does it mean if they're in the same planet? How does the moon cycle at your time of birth matter if you're a full moon baby or a new moon baby or a balsamic moon baby? And we also talk about how Danielle predicted my engagement from reading my chart. If you can't recall, in February, she said, you're going to get engaged this summer. I was like, okay, Stephen, if you're listening to this, we're getting engaged. And clearly he wasn't listening, but he still proposed. So we talk about how Danielle predicted that from my chart. And we talk about what the eclipse season really means. If you're an astrological person, you know that the summer was full of a lot of eclipses. So what does that mean for us? So I'm so excited to have her back. And without further ado, let's hop into this episode with Danielle Paige. Well, welcome, Danielle, to the Highest Self podcast. It's so good to have you back.
Thank you. It's so great to be back.
So me and Danielle were supposed to have a girls' night tonight. We were supposed to just hang out, have dinner, talk. And I put this microphone on her head and I'm like, bitch, get to work.
It is so in Capricorn fashion to put me to work. I'm like, no, Taurus, I wanted to relax. I wanted to, let's just eat and lay in bed. Not lay in bed, lay on the couch.
It's like 9 p.m. She's like, we still haven't eaten. I'm like, let's go. Come on.
I know this Capricorn is putting me to work.
Yes. But, you know, true Capricorn fashion. So
it is.
The first question I'm going to ask you again is, what makes you your highest self?
That I'm connected to my heart always, and I listen to it. And even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else, it makes sense to me. I follow it. So that is always going to be my answer, because to me, that's the most important thing.
So beautiful and so true. Today, I did a mantra-based meditation. The mantra was Yam for the heart. So we head over to Instagram, and I put on my Instagram story that I'm having you back on the podcast, and if listeners had any questions, and we got lots of great questions. So I wrote some down, some good ones that I think we could discuss. So I'm going to go through these. And again, I just made her instantly get on this podcast. So this is not going to be a full hour-long episode, but we're going to get through as much as we can in 30 minutes.
We're going to do it.
So Danielle, how important is your rising sign?
I feel like this is so formal.
Yeah.
I will take bachelor number 3, please. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I have like a piece of paper.
I know.
I've never had one of these
I'm
before.
like, where are you from and what is your name?
Yeah.
Okay, so how important is your rising sign?
Yes.
Rising sign is very important. I would say all the pieces of the chart are important because they come together. It's just like if you have a puzzle, if you didn't have the corners, if you didn't have the middle, you wouldn't understand how it all fits together. So everything is important. The rising sign really represents how you approach the world, how you approach people, how you approach situations, and it's also your view and your filter through life, as well as we grow up and get older and mature and evolve, we step into our rising sign and we end up using that filter even more. So it actually becomes more important as we get older. It is a very big part of your flavor and how you view the world and how you see it. And you can look at it as a vehicle that you drive. Do you drive a Jeep? Do you drive a BMW? Do you drive a Mercedes? Do you drive one with tinted windows? Is the sunroof open? You know, how do you approach people and what do they see when they see you?
I always thought it was, what do people see in you? I didn't know it was also how you see people.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically the sign that is your interaction with the outside world.
Absolutely. And it's really your filter. So it's going to be a lot of, how you think and your consciousness. So we were talking, we both have Sag rising. And so, for both of us, it's important for us to speak our truth and to understand the bigger picture and to see how the universe is put together and to keep exploring and to keep, as we evolve, we're going to keep doing that even more and more. It's going to actually get stronger and stronger because it's going to be so, we're going to get even more passionate about it.
Yeah.
If that's possible for both of us, I don't know.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to this workshop and they were like, people have 3 virtues. It's either truth, beauty, or goodness. And we base our lives off of one, like what is true, what is beautiful, or what is good. And I was like, yeah, for me, it's truth, because beauty is truth. What is good is what is true. It always comes back down to that. But some people would rather have an illusion and it's beautiful, or like not know the full truth but feel really good, which, no right or wrong, but it's just interesting the vehicles.
But they're definitely not a Sag rising, because if they're a Sag rising, it's going to be all about truth.
All about truth, for sure. So looking at someone's chart, how can you tell what their destiny is? I know you spoke a lot about the North Node in the last interview that we did. So can you tell us again a little bit about the North Node and what else we can look out for?
Yeah, so we would definitely look at the North Node. As I always mention, it's something and it's very important, but it's not everything, because there's no one thing in the chart that's everything, but it's a component of it. So the North Node shows your purpose, and I would say your soul's purpose and the vibration that you're learning to step into and what you need to learn. And so when you learn this vibration, and that is throughout your entire life, you evolve and you grow. And everyone's North Node it's hard for us because we're not used to it. So I look at that. I also look at the ruler of the North Node, what it's doing in the chart, house it's in, what sign it's in.
What is ruler of North Node mean?
So every sign has a ruler, a ruling planet.
Oh, okay.
So like my North Node's in Libra. So the ruling planet of Libra is Venus. So then I would look to see where Venus is in my chart. And to me, I made this up. I make up words all the time. So I call it a heavy hitter. So Venus in my chart's the heavy hitter. So that would show me a lot about how I'm going to play out the part of my destiny and what it's going to look like based on the aspects to it. Aspects are the way planets are interacting with each other. Okay. I would also look at the outer planets. So we have inner planets and we have outer planets. Inner planets, in astrology, we call the moon and the sun planets, just to make everything easier. So inner planets are the moon, sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars. And that's just like, we use that every day. So we know how to play that. It's like personality. And then we have Jupiter, which is like in between. It's transpersonal. And then we have the outer planets. So they start at Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So that is beyond our personality. Those are connected to our soul's purpose. And you can look to see where those are in the chart and what they're doing. And that shows me a lot of someone's destiny because we grow into that as we get older. And we really learn how to become these vibration. So it's really connected to our soul purpose and what we're here for. So I would first look at Saturn. Saturn's important. Saturn is our karmic lesson that we promise that we're going to work on the earth plane. Pluto is really important too. I know people say Pluto is not a planet, and it was, and it wasn't, it was. During the whole process, it didn't matter. It's a vibration, and Pluto has one of the strongest vibrations. And it is directly connected to what our soul is meant to do here. Nothing to do with ego. It wipes out the ego. It is so connected to, this is on the deepest soul level, what you're here to do. And there's a lot of transformation, and there could be a lot of struggle. There could be feeling like could be overpowered. I also look at Pluto to see where you were overpowered in a past lifetime. So you're going to overcome that. And that's where you're going to have your biggest transformation. But with these outer planets, it's not about happening overnight or in a month. It is literally the trajectory of your life. So as we evolve, we grow into that. Yeah, so to answer your question, I would look at the outer planets and the North Node, and that really tells me a lot.
So how can you look up what planet your North Node is ruled by?
So you can go to astro.com.
Okay.
It's soon going to be on my website. My new website's coming out soon, and soon you'll be able to type in your chart, but it's not up yet. But if you're listening to this later on, it will be there, DaniellePaige.com. But right now you could just go to astro.com and type in your birth information, and then you look at the chart. So it's the way you find it, it will just look like a horseshoe, really an upside down horseshoe. The other way, like a horseshoe is usually upside down, right?
Okay.
Which way is a horseshoe usually?
Like to the side, maybe?
Yeah, so it looks like a horseshoe, and then there's a T inside, and the T is for a true node.
It looks like a church, doesn't it? It looks like a
Really?
It looks like a cross with the
No,
church.
this one.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a, I don't know, hieroglyphic or
Yeah,
something.
it's like Egyptian. Maybe that's why I'm called to it.
Yeah.
Because I was just called to it.
So that's the North Node.
That's the North
But
Node.
there are websites that will just say what your North Node is, right?
To be honest, I don't know because I don't use them.
I think
So
there
don't
is
know.
because there was some website that I would always go on like once I did the episode with you, I was like, what's
Yeah.
your North Node? That's the most
Yeah.
important thing. And there are websites, I think it was like astro-charts.com.
Oh, okay.
And it
Yeah.
will just tell you what your North Node
Okay,
is.
great.
But
Yeah,
then how
yeah.
do you know what planet that's ruled by? Like how did you know Libra is
So
ruled by?
you have to know astrology.
Okay.
But I mean, I could go through and just name what they're ruled by.
Sure,
if
yeah,
that would
that'd
help
be great.
people. It's always easier for me just to look here. Okay, so let's start with Aries because Aries is first. So if something is in Aries, it's ruled by Mars. So you look to see where Mars is.
So this is your North Node.
Yeah, or really, this is all the signs are ruled by planets. So it can work with anything.
Okay.
Like that's going to get a little complicated, but yes. So if your North Node is in Aries, it's ruled by Mars. So you look to see where Mars is in your chart and what it's doing. If your North Node is in Taurus, you look at Venus. Okay. If your North Node is in Gemini, you look at Mercury. North Node in Cancer, you look to the moon. North Node in Leo, it's the sun. North Node in Virgo, so it's Mercury. However, some people say Chiron.
Wait, wasn't Gemini and Mercury?
Yeah.
They both are.
Yeah,
Okay.
they both are. So some people say, so I'm just going to share, we could do this on another podcast of why, it's a whole long story. But, you have to the one thing about astrology is you have to feel it and what feels better to you. So some people use Mercury for Virgo. Some people use Chiron. Some people don't even use asteroids at all. I look at both. I tend to do a little bit more of Mercury, but I do look at Chiron if it's jumping out in the chart for me.
Okay.
For Libra, it's also Venus, just like Taurus. Okay. For Scorpio, you look at the Mars or Pluto. So again, there's a traditional and a modern ruler. So I'm just going to name them both so people can look at them. Sag, I always go to Jupiter. Just always. Some people say, some people say Neptune, but I tend to just really go towards Jupiter. That's just my personal. But, another astrologer might do something different. It just really depends. For Capricorn, it's Saturn. For Aquarius, it's Uranus. Now, with Aquarius, some people look to Saturn as well. That was the original ruler. That doesn't resonate with me. I really see more Uranus energy. So again, I'm just naming it so you can pick and choose. And Pisces is Neptune. And again, some people say Jupiter with that as well. But sometimes I look at Neptune or Jupiter. I mean, it just depends, really. I have to feel the chart. Every chart's so different.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's so like the way that I feel like these planets all just have such personalities
Every
too.
single one of them. I look at them as like if I'm watching a play, they're all different characters.
Yeah, for sure. So a question that someone had is, what's the best way to get through intense periods like supermoons, retrogrades, etc.?
I think one of the most important things to understand is that nothing is static. Energy moves. We are on a planet that is moving. The other planets are moving. Nothing stays the same. So with that in mind, there's always going to be something going on. So it's just, we have to get used to, because I know a lot of people are like counting down the days until Mercury sometimes is done from being retrograde. But the thing is, what they don't realize is right after that, there's something else coming. Right. So I think the best advice is that we are here to actually experience this energy, not because the universe is trying to punish us, but because there's lessons and experiences in every retrograde, in every dark time. You know, sometimes we have to go to the shadow in order to see the light. So I say it's just about embracing it, and we really have to monitor just, you know, how can we learn to live with this kind of intensity all the time, because I think that's the best advice we can give, because there's always going to be something. Of course, sometimes there are times that are way more intense, and I understand that, but we have to just understand that this is the journey of life. This is being here on Earth. It's a really dense plane. We chose this. Every soul wanted to be here to learn and evolve. But to get through the other times, you know, just go back to your tools, journal, meditate, breathe, tap into your heart, cry it out if you need to. Take a salt bath, sage, you know, talk with a friend, get a hug, lay in bed, you know, just do something that's really nurturing for yourself, and it'll pass.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of people, they like blame whatever's going on in their life. They're like, oh, it's the eclipse, it's the supermoon, it's the retrograde, it's this, it's that. I'm sure it's like, you see it so much. And it's like, you know, like just stay grounded.
Yeah.
Like we're also here on Earth, and
yes.
There's a lot, like, you know, it's good to know about these things, but if you just make up excuses, it's spiritual bypassing. It's like, oh, well, I was a bitch because this planet did that. Like I look at your Instagram every day, and every day there's something freaking going on. I'm like, how do you keep track?
And I'll tell you, the truth is, I don't even post as much as some other astrologers, because I refuse to post, you know, just the inner planets, because they're so transitory. We don't feel them. And if I did, I wouldn't actually be able to get anything else done.
Right.
So I post the important things.
Yeah.
But there's 5 million other things going on that I didn't even mention, because I mean, people will lose their mind.
Yeah.
I post what's important to help guide you in the best possible way.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, you know, if you can't take action, you can't control. There's no point in like sweating about it. So while we dive deep into all this astrological juiciness, I want to share with you a very special gift I have for you guys. This is a 30-day free trial for Thrive Market. So if you have not heard of Thrive Market, it is a revolutionary online marketplace on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. So you can find like everything that you find at Whole Foods, wherever you shop, for about 25 to 50% below traditional retail prices. In fact, they don't make any money off of the products because they're selling it at shelf price. And you have to just become a member. You pay a yearly fee, and you're able to get everything after that from 25 to 50% off. So I love getting my tongue scrapers from there, all my Ayurvedic stuff. I get my snacks, my chocolate, personal care products, eco-friendly cleaning supplies, Chubby's dog food. Anything I can, I'll get it from Thrive Market. So it's really curated. You only find about 3 to 4 options of each product because it's products that you can trust. And about 70% of the stuff on Thrive cannot be found on Amazon. So I highly recommend checking it out. And Thrive is kindly offering a 30-day free trial for Highest Self podcast listeners, plus 25% off your first order. So let's say you order $100 stuff, $25 off, $200 stuff, $50 off, which is freaking amazing. Like, do all your grocery stuff on Thrive, your olive oil, your coconut oil, all the things that you buy, that you just buy in bulk, get it from Thrive, because it's already like 25 to 50% off, plus you're getting an additional 25% off. So use the code Sahara and you will receive your 30-day trial and 25% off your first order. Without further ado, let's go back to Danielle on the Highest Self podcast. So what does eclipse season mean for us?
Ooh, eclipse season. So we're in it right now.
Yes.
Eclipse season.
How long is it for?
Well, this time we have 3 eclipses in a row. And that's a little different. Usually we have 2. And now eclipse season is different. I find that it starts about a month before. So when did you get engaged? What was the date?
June 23rd.
Okay. So around in June, I know like a million people that got engaged. And I knew, I'm like, that was the eclipse that was happening, right?
Okay.
And so like Steven, he was just waiting for the ring, right? We talked about that.
Right.
But like it could have happened earlier too, but it's still eclipse energy that it like turned the ball. But so eclipse energy starts about a month before. And then we have the eclipse, and then we have 2 weeks in between the other eclipse, and then we have another one. So it usually lasts, I would say it's a good like 2.5 months, because we're feeling some energy afterwards. And then after the eclipses, we have an unfolding of 6 months. So then we start to go in a new direction. So, and then in the next 6 months, we're going to have another eclipse. So again, there's always something going on.
Every 6 months.
Every 6 months, roughly,
Okay.
yeah.
And it's so for those 2 months, you feel the energy.
So yeah, you feel it a month before where it starts to get really impactful. And then when it's going, you have one, and then you have 2 weeks, and then you have another one. And then I find that you find the energy is like pretty heavy for like a week or 2 afterwards as well. But then you have an unfolding of 6 months after that where you're really starting to integrate what shifted. So then you really start stepping into it. So, eclipse season, it lasts a while. It's really the thick of it, I believe, is about 2 months roughly.
So it's sort of like you're receiving upgrades and whatever it is.
They're upgrades. They're basically portals of fate, because we don't change sometimes unless the universe changes for us. And so they are basically little nudges from the universe where we are moving up the spiritual ladder.
Yeah.
So even if someone doesn't think they're spiritual, we're spiritual beings. That's what we're here for. So it's literally our consciousness is getting upgraded. We're shifting, we're moving, and not every eclipse hits everyone's chart. And I know people are like, oh, why is it not hitting my chart? But the thing is, you don't want it to, because sometimes it's great, like you got engaged and they're beautiful, but a lot of times they're, endings as well. I've seen everything. People get awards, win money, get married. Some people get divorced. Some
and
people
at the
lose their
same
job.
time, they can be happening.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be going through those kind of upgrades every 6 months, because you would lose your mind. And then you would be physically sick because your body can't take it. So it's actually okay that for maybe 2 years, it's not hitting a chart, but don't worry, it's going to come back. You're going to have many times throughout your life
So
where
you
the
can
eclipse
look
is
up
hitting
and
it.
see which eclipses are hitting your chart.
Yeah, like you could just Google. I will have this on my new website as well, but right now you can go to Cafe Astrology and you can look up at the eclipses, and they'll tell you from the past 100 years to the next 50 years of the eclipses.
Okay.
And then you can see, if you know the degrees and you know how to read your chart, you can know what eclipse is coming up to hit your chart.
Oh, I'm wondering
Yeah.
if this past one hit my chart.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is this you here?
Is this me or is that Steven?
That's you.
me, yeah.
So yeah, this one was 20 degrees of Cancer, which, hello, absolutely. Yes, I love that we're doing this right now. So this one is opposing your sun sign, which is whenever it opposes your sun sign, it means that year is going to be huge for you. And any opposition is a relationship. So 100% it hit your...
So if it opposes your sun sign, then it's going to be huge.
Opposes, hits, or does anything, if an eclipse does anything to your sun sign, that year is really big for you. And the sun represents men in your life and in your chart. So I usually see something about men as well. So I know, so obviously I'm not married, but when the eclipse, it was several years ago, it hit my sun in the chart, and there were men lining up that I remember it was crazy. It was literally raining men, and I'm like, this is no joke. So it just depends on what's going on in your life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But also, I think a lot of us, it's sometimes when something really great happens to you, it also, you have to create space for that thing by letting go of a lot of things that don't serve.
100%.
Yeah. So it was like also a lot of just like things that I don't want in my life anymore. People I don't want in my life anymore. Just like this massive
energetically, I could tell you were like really like making a shift of like what's important to you.
For sure. Like
tell,
just in all my time, my energy and everything of like.
Because you have a fiance now.
Right. Woo! And it's just like, yeah. And I mean
Amazing.
that, but also just like, I feel like this summer for a lot of people is like super transformational. Maybe it's like the summer energy of like, you're taking time off and you're taking that bigger perspective. But I see like a lot of people are going through that now of like.
Well, so many people are going through shifts because again, we have 3 eclipses and it's hitting so many people and we feel the energy anyways. But when it hits your sun sign, it's also reevaluating, okay, where have I been? Where am I going? What do I want? Like, how can I assess the situation? Like, who am I? What do I want? How do I want to shine my light? What do I want? So you're rethinking all this. And, you know, it's a little bit of a wide orb. I don't always look at a 7-degree orb for an eclipse, but it looks like it was opposing your Saturn as well, which again is like, let me reestablish my boundaries.
Oh yeah, boundaries have been
so
like
here's
the
thing.
big lesson.
A lot of astrologers, and I went through this phase too, and I said, no, I'm only going to look at something in an eclipse if it's 4 degrees. But here's the thing. Eclipses are so powerful that I've now, again, extended my orb. Orb is just the distance between what you look at. Because I'm like, there's no way that you're not going to feel that kind of intensity, even if it's a little further away. So yeah, so it basically hit your sun and your Saturn, which is structure, discipline, reorganize, and it's like really get into all your Capricorn stuff that you love.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah.
So someone asked what sign, and you kind of talked about this, but is any sign more important? Your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign?
Yeah. Again, it's a good question. It really depends on the chart though. But I would say, I know we all look up our sun sign, or people call it your star sign, and look it up in horoscopes, which I don't even recommend doing. Only if you want to do for fun, then great. So somehow the sun sign got super important, and it is. But to me, at the end of the day, the moon is so important because the moon is your internal clock. It is your emotional response system. It is what you need to feel safe and nurtured. So, our sun is what we shine and how we express it. And that's fun and that's beautiful and it's still important. But if we are not feeding our moon sign, you're not going to be satisfied. You're just not going to be happy. You have to feed your moon because it is what you hold near and dear in your heart. So to me, and it's also just how you naturally, it's your instinctual behaviors and your responses. So it's who you are. So yeah, if you're not aware of that, yeah, I mean, I'm a Cancer moon, 29 degrees of Cancer moon. And for so long, I wasn't doing anything to really nurture myself. This was probably my early 30s. And, I just didn't really understand. And I wasn't, I need to take care of people or help or just doing something where I feel like I'm really supporting. And I wasn't doing anything. And I was really depressed for a while. And I was bummed out. I didn't feel like I had passion. And then once I really discovered that and started, I like to really help and take care and nurture people. It makes me feel good. It's like a plant. If I'm not doing that, I'm not being watered.
Love it.
Yeah.
And people, again, can look up their moon on Astro Charts, your website.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does it mean if your sun and the moon are in the same sign?
So it's just more energy of that sign. It's just more experiences that you're learning and playing out and you're expressing. So a lot of people say, oh my God, is this good or is this bad? And I really don't see anything that's good or bad in the chart. It's just different energies. Sure, there are some things that could be a little bit harder to integrate, but that doesn't mean it's bad because the harder things to integrate are actually things that you're going to achieve.
Right.
You don't become president, or I shouldn't even use that example anymore. You don't.
I can't use that
I can't
example.
take that one back.
Yeah.
You don't become, a great author. You don't become a great. I said that because I feel like you're going to freaking be president. Oh my God,
No.
that's why I said it. Because then I said author, and I'm like, I'm channeling her right now.
Please,
I know.
block.
I know. Sorry, it's true.
All
though.
the psychics and astrologers think or tell me I'm going to be a politician, and I'm like, no, please.
I know. I feel like it just came out for you.
No.
Listen, I just predicted your engagement. I'm sorry.
Ease and grace, no politics.
Yeah, but how about you do it in ease and grace and you start a new shift in consciousness?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's happening. Okay.
I'll deal with that when it
so
gets here.
what was I saying after all that? Yeah, like you just don't become something really profound if you just chart as easy. You become something profound and you push and you achieve things in life through the harder energies. So I love the harder energies. But going back to this, yeah, it just means you have more of that energy and you're really like, it's a double whammy of Leo or double whammy of Capricorn, double whammy of, Virgo, whatever it is. It's just more of who you are. That's all really.
Yeah. Yeah, like my moon and sun and north node are all in Capricorn.
Everything.
And everything else.
Oh, yeah. You're born under a balsamic moon.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you're born.
Yeah, can you tell us if you're born under full moon, balsamic moon?
Yeah. So if you're, for the person that asked if you were, your moon and your sun were in the same sign, that means the moon is either behind the sun or the moon's in front of the sun. Oh. If the moon is behind the sun, it has less light. So that's in the dark moon, which is the balsamic moon, right before the new moon. Mm-hmm. So people like you could actually, to be honest, people balsamic moon, they first of all stand back and see things from a higher level. Like your soul has been here, done this. You're like, okay, I'm not messing around this lifetime. And with relationships, really, it's like, this is why it makes sense what you said, that balsamic moon can take or leave relationships. It's not that they don't want it, but it's not like, oh my God, I'm dying for a relationship. It's like, great, if it comes, great, but you're like, I'm totally fine alone. It's like, it's like that distraction. You don't need it if it's not the right thing. So that's balsamic. Also, we're talking about this, balsamic moons are very sensitive. They're energy bodies, like extremely sensitive. And also you're wrapping up a lot of, I don't know why we never talked about this before. This is how detailed astrology is, that it takes years to get deep into people's chart. Balsamic moon, you're wrapping up a lot of lifetimes that you've done before. Yeah. And so you're like healing and clearing karma, and you're basically in that last phase of a group of, like, we incarnate many times, so you're wrapping up a lot of things from other lifetimes. So if you do choose to come back, it's going to be a different kind of energy, but that's you choose.
I'm pretty sure this is my last lifetime.
Yeah, and you can choose. I wouldn't be surprised with balsamic. You're like, I'm done out of here. Let's go.
Yeah, it's been kind of clear I'm going to be a spirit guide in the next life, and I'm like, I'm fucking ready.
Oh my God.
But now I gotta change politics, I guess.
Yeah, you've got, that's why I think you have so much to do, because I think, I can see it being, and I know this might sound weird to people, but I feel like we're so okay talking about this stuff because it's like we're souls anyways.
Totally.
I can see you being like, no, moving on to something else. Mm-hmm. So you're born on the balsamic moon. If your moon is in front of the sun, you're a new moon baby, and that's a totally different energy.
Yes.
That's like, like when a baby is born and they like touch everything and they like fall and like they put in their mouth. So everything is new, and it doesn't mean you're not an old soul. It's more about how you approach life. It's curiosity.
Like a puppy,
That's great. So you're going to, even if I say, don't touch the water, it's hot, you're not going to listen. You're going to touch the water, it's hot.
I want to tell you the funniest story. When I was a kid, my mom would put like these like beautiful china vases and stuff like on the table, and like most kids would knock it over. And I used to go around. I was a weird child, and I would go like this, and I would like skid my hand all along it and not touch it. And
because
just,
you knew.
Just measure it and like just like look at the energy around it.
Your parents were like, what is going on?
Yeah, but they were like, this is awesome. We don't have to change anything in the house.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
But it was like, so new moon babies, curious.
Yeah, and then there's a lot in between, which we won't get into that because there's
what
technicalities.
About
full moon babies, they are relationship oriented. So whether it's romantic or friendship, you need to be around people. You thrive off people. So obviously we all need our space every once in a while. But full moon babies, first of all, your intuition is heightened. Because if you think about during the full moon, everything is heightened. So you're born under that energy. So you are always, it's like on and it's like vibrating, and like everything is like drama or extreme, right? So
are a lot of Leos like this?
It just depends.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually know some Leos that they're like, I'm not like everything I read. And I'm like, oh, I bet you're born on the balsamic moon. And then they are. I check. And they are. So it's like they're a Leo, but they're using the Leo for the highest good. They're not using the shadow energy because they're like, they don't really care about it.
So does your number of like lifetimes kind of have to do with the moon placement?
No, that I believe is something that we just chose because we did choose when we're going to incarnate based on the energy and based when it's right time for us. So I think it's just aligned with what we need.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about if you're on a crescent moon?
Crescent moon that's like, these people, they need projects, they need to push. And it's like one thing, they like kind of dive in and push. And it's a lot of growth. This lifetime is all about growth. which I'm
Totally.
born under a crescent moon. And it's like, I feel like I'm constantly like everything. If I'm not like doing some kind of project or growth, it's like, like I have to keep going.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like that too, though.
Well, yeah, but that's all your Capricorn. I mean, you're like 50,000 things in Capricorn. So it's like Capricorn needs to achieve. So that's just like, that's one of your core values. Like there's no question about that.
It's so interesting because it's like, I guess what confuses me is like, well, what if all these things oppose each other? How do you know which one is like, is it from the moon I was born under?
Yeah,
is it from this?
no,
is it
that's
from
a
that?
good question, and that's where we're a little bit of everything. But like because I know the archetypes and everything is archetype, I can see that now. I'm like, oh, that's because of this. Like it's a language, and it's like I just feel it. I dance with it. I don't know. That's how spirit even speaks to me.
Oh my God.
Like I could
you
see
need
someone.
to do a teacher training, please. I'm
I
begging
know she's getting me to do a teacher training, which I
Yes.
think I'm going to.
you. Okay, so before we wrap this up, we're going to have you on for the third time.
Love it.
I want to talk about, someone asked about the do-over lifetimes. In the last episode, you talked about how some lifetimes we have are do-overs. Can you share more about this?
So I see a do-over. Now, here's the thing. Every astrologer is going to use a different house system, and there's no right or wrong. Some astrologers use one versus another. I've looked at a lot of them. I use what resonates with me. So it's just, I believe at the end of the day, we're all going to, relatively come to the same conclusion. We're just going to express it differently. But I use a certain house system. Anyway, so the one I use, if I see the same sign on your 12th house, wrapping over and then going to your first house as well, to me, that's a clear indication that it's a do-over because you're taking the energy from the past lives and you're redoing it. So I'm actually a do-over in this lifetime. And it totally makes sense. I find do-overs are, I wouldn't say like I'm happy my life is great now, but for those of you who don't really know me and am new, like you have no idea what I've been through. And I've done a lot to get to this place. So I wouldn't say it's the easiest because you did have to come here and redo stuff. I even believe that I took my life in a past lifetime. I don't know if it was my most recent one, but I feel that very strongly at one point. I just kind of gave up. It wasn't anything drastic, but I just kind of gave up and I didn't use my abilities to help people. So that's why I'm back here and I have to learn from the beginning, the ground up. So yeah, so a do-over, you're here to reuse the energy. So there's a lot of gifts. And you're not getting out of stuff in this lifetime because you decided to come back to do this. And I know I could already see my soul is like, there's no way in hell I'm not doing this, like I have something big to do. So
you can see it in the chart.
Yeah.
And then also, so it's categorized as people who maybe had a lot of struggles, but know that there's something that they were meant to do.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, isn't that everyone?
Yeah, but it wouldn't show. Not everyone has it on their 12th to their first.
Okay.
It's
so
I would say it's like, I don't know, 5 or 10%, maybe. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And also based off of that, because I know you do work with past lives, are you able to kind of see what past lives are from the chart, or how does that process look like for you?
I could see vibration. So I don't know, like, oh, you were Cleopatra and your name was Bob. And
Everyone
you did
was
this.
Cleopatra.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that stuff I don't know. Yeah, I don't really think anything like that has come through. But I have been able to, what I do is pick up on the vibration. Like for you, I was able to pick up very strongly. We never talked about it on the podcast, but I picked up very strongly on stuff that you went through. And I can see that. So I can feel
because you could see the chakras too. Because you were saying you knew that my past life trauma was the second chakra.
Yeah, for you. It's just everyone's different. For you, I can see stuff with not now, but it was with your sacral chakra. Yeah, everyone's different. I really have no control over what comes through, but it's a feeling and it's a vibration. And I could see some stuff in the chart and then some stuff is just like my abilities and just what it is. Everybody is different. It depends on how open someone is too. If someone's open, I'm going to get more. I've read people and they're really scared and blocked off, and I don't really get much other than just the chart, which is still amazing in itself, but I don't get a lot of psychic information. And then other people, it's like, whoa, my third eye is exploding. And then other times there's like, people's dead relatives are showing up. So it's like,
yeah,
I have no control over it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And the last quick question, are there any signs that should not be together?
Great question. All signs could be with all signs because it depends on way more than just your sun sign. It depends on how your entire chart comes together. Like your Venus could be somewhere and then someone's Mars could be there and that's a beautiful match. Or you could have a lot of planets in earth signs and air signs and lack water, you might need your partner to have water. So it's a balance. So it is way beyond. Anytime I read, oh, Pisces is good with X, Y, and Z, I just know it's such bullshit. And it's just like a lead to get you in to buy something or just to get likes. And I could like easily have 10 million likes or 10 million people following me if I posted stuff like that, but like it's not even true, so I can't even waste my time.
Because it's just your sun sign and their sun sign.
Oh yeah, and it means nothing. It means nothing. Any sign can be with any sign because it's based on so much more. Yeah.
But are there any like, these are really good for each other, these are not, or
no, I can't.
Nothing?
No, I mean, listen, at this point, I think I've dated all around the chart.
Every sign.
I probably dated every sign.
That's your book, Dating Every Sign.
Oh my. Every time I'm talking with you, we create another book.
Yes.
And I'm still writing my other one. This one goes to Bali, writes a book in 2 weeks. I'm going to have, 15 years. I'm done. Guess what? I'm done.
Dating Every Sign. I think everyone would love that book.
Okay. You heard it right here. That's my second book.
Here, Dating Every Sign.
It's my second book.
And then maybe like you can talk about dating them, but then as you got to know them, you saw like the more complexity that came through. And like he was a Leo, but then I realized he was born under the balsamic moon and he was very deep. And
there's so much more. So don't worry. If you're a Pisces and you're with your boyfriend who is an Aries, any sign could be with any sign. Of course, you're going to have a different flavor, but that's just your sun sign.
Yeah.
But there's so many things.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, for joining us again. You are seriously a High Self podcast favorite.
I love it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Loved and requested guest ever. And you predicted my engagement last time you were on here in February. And you said this summer. And I was like, oh, cool. And like, I mean, we had talked about being married,
but I didn't know that. We didn't really know each other before. We became friends afterwards, so I didn't even know you at all, really.
So was that in my chart, or was that just
I'm trying to remember what I saw in your chart. I saw something in your chart, but just because everyone's going to want to know, there is no one thing in the chart that says you're going to get married, because trust me, I would be circling that date, crossing it off. Right now I would be counting down the days.
Right.
There's a lot of things that can happen, but also I saw something in her chart, but then I also psychically it was like a knowing. I think
you asked me, you're like, do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
I was like, yes. And then you're like, are you thinking about getting engaged? I was like, maybe, I don't know, ask him.
I'm like, oh, something's happening here.
So is there something like to kind of look out for that signifies engagements or?
Yeah, there's not one thing. It was just, again, I don't know where it was because I don't have the chart pulled up to that date where it was, but I saw something maybe moving towards your 7th house, but that alone is not going to say an engagement, but it was psychically, I felt it too.
Well, let me know when I'm going to have those babies.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that later on.
Not yet. No souls invited. Well, thank you so much again for coming on, sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Yeah, and teaching us about astrology in this really intuitive and empowering and grounded way.
Thank you so much.
Woo, we just went deep into astrology. We got in, we got out, we did it fast. I totally tricked Danielle into coming over and then had her record a podcast episode. Of course, it's the Capricorn in me. So I am so glad you guys got your questions answered, and we'll definitely have her again for a part 3. So if you want to dive deeper into astrology, head over to her Instagram, Healing Paige. I'm convincing her to make a podcast. Hopefully she has one too. Also, don't forget to pre-order my book, Eat, Feel Fresh, wherever you buy your books. Put on your Amazon cart, wherever else. I promise you won't regret it, because how can we be these intuitive, astrological, cosmic beings when our digestive systems are out of whack? So I want to make sure that food isn't an issue in your life, and I want to give you the exact recipes that you need to thrive, because what you eat affects you on a cellular level. It changes the vibration of your being. You cannot have an ascended higher being experience when you are living in this lower frequency dimension body. So I created these recipes, crafted them for you using Ayurvedic wisdom in today's day and time to make your life a beautiful healing experience. And plus, you're going to love this photography. I went to India, took all the photography using street photographers that I found on Instagram. Nothing was planned. It is beyond stunning, from the cosmic rivers of Varanasi to the jungles of Kerala to the blue city of Jodhpur, Eat, Feel Fresh has it all. If you don't believe me, just look at the preview on Amazon. You'll get a little taste of this book. And it's also the perfect book to give as a birthday present, Christmas gift, anything else. It is the kind of book you want on your coffee table. And I am so honored and excited to share this with you. So check it out, Eat, Feel Fresh. Thank you so much to our incredible sponsor, Thrive Market. Again, be sure to head over there and use the code Sahara to receive 25% off your first order, plus a free 30-day trial where you can receive all of your Ayurvedic self-care products for a massive discount, as well as your groceries, self-care products, and so much more. And if you loved this episode, I would love to offer you a free gift. And that is the first half of my unreleased book, Eat Right for Your Mind Body Type. All you got to do is leave a review for me in the iTunes store, take a screenshot before you hit submit, and send it to me on email to sahara@eatfeelfresh.com, and I will send you back the first half of my unreleased book, Eat Right for Your Mind Body Type. Namaste.